Be All right, today we're discussing mental health in schools and education, and we're doing universal and whole approaches in schools and education. Thank you. I'm a student at Mount St. Vincent University. I'm on my fourth year, technically my fourth, but it's actually my third. So, what we're talking about is special topics in mental health. It's a general studies program, but I'm focusing on psychology. This psychology course um, is about, upcoming things we're doing, cool things we're doing in the grounds. That's how comfortable we are here. All right, let's move forward. Okay. First discussion topic is the 4 pillars of success in educational frameworks. So the Healthy School Policy serves as a guiding document that outlines the school's commitment to creating a healthy environment and sets out specific goals and strategies for achieving this. It provides a framework for developing and implementing a comprehensive approach to mental health promotion within the school community. We have a special advancement with technology nowadays, so that's really nice and helpful for what it is we're trying to do. Okay, so um, first one is social environment. So this pillar focuses on fostering a positive social environment within the school. That means inclusivity, equity, equitability. It's also about cultures and developing a positive rapport with different theologists and different religions, things like that. The second one, and we associate that color with red or pink or love or Valentine's Day, something like that, to kind of get it grooving into like the holiday spirit so that we can all sort of connect on the same page. The next one is physical environment. This one matters a lot to African Americans, African Canadians. This pillar emphasizes creating a physical environment that supports health and well-being. The meaning of that is all inclusivity, all acceptance, and the main pillar, the focus on that generally is the fact that we have differences of development. We have differences of down to like the breathing, things like that. And we need to be able to work together in an environment where we're both genetically improving and we can have the same education, but internalize the information in an equal way. Okay, and the next one is teaching and learning. So this color we associate with blue. Excuse me. Apologies. And that's a natural trust color. So it's really cool for being vulnerable and things like that. So it's a safe color too. We use it a lot in the crown, and it's really easy to learn in a blue environment. So this pillar highlights the importance of integrating health into the curriculum and teaching practices, given we're talking about mental health. And we're a university, the best university in the world. So, and we have a special focus on the higher good, the greater good for both women and men, but we love women here. So, health is really important to us. And mental health and stability for the longevity of our institutions, our countrymen, our continents that we basically enforce. So that's the general concern I'd have around that. So we're going to talk a little bit about the things that we can do to get around that and combat that. So partnerships and services is the final one. That's the one we focus on the most. Being in the location we are, having the history that we have. And this pillar emphasizes the importance of collaboration within our institutions, such as healthcare providers, community organizations, military services, services like police officers, firefighters, things like that, and then of course families. And we do focus on individuality, but what we're looking for is camaraderie, and then success in your individualism through our institution and success like that. So, okay, let's keep going. Let's move forward. All right, so the 4 pillars of success in our educational framework we associate a lot in everyday life. You might see it in companies like eBay or Microsoft or Google. We use the same colors. We kind of brand ourselves in terms of continent, like we might associate Africa with green or orange or yellow, something like that. But a lot of the reason that we do these colors in our educational framework is so that we can associate the well-being of each and every one of us in our everyday lives. So the Healthy School Policy serves as a guiding document that outlines the school's commitment to creating a healthy environment and sets out specific goals and strategies for achieving this. It provides a framework for developing and implementing a comprehensive approach to mental health promotion within the school community. Okay, a couple things we want to note about that. So the whole world approach is a free look at the game of life with creating builds from like Anunnakis across the globe. So we're going to talk a little bit about Anu technologies and how we can develop like Easter eggs, treasure hunts, geocaching, things like that around the globe and promote going around the world for free. And that gives people the ability to be educated in a different way. And we're going to talk about those things too. Okay, the second one is we're under the halls of greatness here. So my mom comes from traditional hall family, so that makes me one too. So educational well-being, and that's the green under the next one. So a natural Arcturian, which means global way of looking at the planet and a deep understanding of money and expanding education. Okay, so being a student at the Mount, I've been on and off with my education, my university degree since I was like 20. I'm 35 now, so I'm taking a little while to finish, but I am finishing. So I'm looking more into the deep understandings of expanding education in areas where they're looking at improving financial gain. And then the next one is teaching and learning. So a beautiful look at resource usage. So we focus a lot on women at the Mount. So women are very resourceful, very versatile. So that we're going to look at a couple things that we can do to kind of globalize that for everyone. Excuse me. The next one is advanced technologies. My background is in technology. I've been a lover of technology since I was a little kid. Highly skilled in that, so I'm bringing a lot of the knowledge that I have from that into the mental health and wellness and education, obviously. My mom used to work for the school board, so I come by it honestly. My dad's been into his whole life, and he's really good with money and finance and all that stuff. So, okay, and then a serious understanding of trends. So we focus a lot on social supremacy in this topic, and a lot of that comes from predetermining the outcome before it actually happens so that we know the right outcome is going to happen. And then the final one is partnerships and services. So a peaceful and healthy way of looking at education and worshiping new advancements in individualism and human rights. So we're going to take a look at things like Amnesty International and ways we can kind of incorporate different solutions for them from our pillars of education. Okay, and then now we're going to be talking a little bit about the whole school approaches and some of the information that we've already concluded to be factual that's kind of just out there now. It used to be where we were always sourcing and referencing information, but as new technology advancements have gone by and people are commenting and providing information for free all across the globe with technology, it's too hard to kind of like source back to the original creators. Plus we're not legally technically allowed to provide that data, and it is available freely as factual information, especially now with the advancement of artificial intelligence. So we're going to look at a new approach at sourcing information, and that is appendation. So when we implement a whole school approach, schools are encouraged to address mental health and well-being through various means, including behavior policies, curriculum design, care and support for young people, as well as staff and engagement of parents. So the way that we can incorporate appendation is looking at what we've already got, noting the actual individual as servicing what they're doing, and then just conclude it as final factual information, and then the divinity kind of happens in the background. So This is originally a circle for SEL, which falls under the whole school approaches and the different things we understand. So this comprehensive approach has been successfully adopted internationally through programs such as the Collaborative for Academic. And if we look over here and we look at orange, we show that that focuses on self-awareness. So that brings up our self-awareness, which is pretty cool. The next one is social and team-based. And then if we push that over, we see that that's self-management. So that's great. It shows that we can advance and adopt better scheduling through self-management tactics, kind of like, bear me with me. I'm going to try to find like a slow song that we can kind of relax to in the background. Put on some Taylor Swift. Okay, so cool synchronicities also. So another one is emotional learning in the USA. We've been doing a lot of studies in Australia around emotional learning and working in teams as children and seeing how children advance in their social skills. And a lot of the things we've noticed in the USA is a lot of the issues are emotional learning and understanding kind of like the fundamental attribution error, and a lot of it is disciplinary in the terms of there being like a population and like closeness. So the self-management and the self-awareness tactics are really good for responsible decision making. It allows people to be emotionally available, make responsible decisions, but they'll still have that ingenuity in the background. Okay, moving along, because that's a topic for a whole nother thing that just can't happen. So kids matter in Australia. So we were just sort of talking about this issue. Relationship skills. So the social supremacy issues that we're focusing on in Australia are we're working with children and improving the relationship skills from a younger age, and then moving those skills over to the USA into technology. And then what we're going to do from there is apply those emotional learning skills through technological advancements so that we can incorporate our skills into those skill sets so that when it comes back to us, it's where we want it to be. And then finally, we have social awareness. So the social and emotional aspects of learning in the UK. The UK and Australia has a little bit more patience than we do here in Canada. We kind of expect the finale, like the fan, because then we have to kind of work around like peaceful integrations and things like that. So research has shown that schools that adopt these programs not only support positive mental health, but also improve academic achievement. So that's awesome for us. Okay, the next one I want to talk about is the primary focus for good mental health, and that is food. So, food frameworks in our region schools. I want to make sure my bun's all proper for this one. Food frameworks in our region schools, I really can't. That's issue number one. I really just can't see me eating healthier than this. Makes sense. Okay, little trippy, I know, but the reason we're discussing this and the issues that we have with this, food frameworks in schools vary across countries, but they generally focus on promoting healthy eating habits among youth and children. Things like daydreaming, hallucinations, focus, like active listening, flow in design when you're working, all those things boil down ultimately how you feel about yourself, how others look at you to the point of exhaustion and bringing you down, forcing you to fail when you should be succeeding. Those issues are important topics that need immediate attention. So, for example, Canada, we focused on balanced meals. So I'm going to go over the things that we focus on here, but consider when you're sort of learning with me and going through these approaches that you're considering the other continents or countries that use approaches that are similar to ours that we work with or off of. So, and for example, Canada's Food Guide is a key resource for promoting healthy eating habits, including in schools. Schools often adhere to provincial guidelines that align with the food guide, promoting balanced meals and limiting sugary and processed foods. The reason we do that is excess sugar can cause lethargic and over-consuming habits. Of adrenalines like sex and drugs, causing increased birth rates and diseases and genetic mutations. So that's really important to us that we keep our genetics really, really nice and perfect and beautiful because to us, we have a low population. We're working on bringing in immigration, but we want to make sure we stay the safest country in the world, that other countries are sort of worshiping us and thanking us and giving us all the benefits. So we got to stay kind of like in the grain. USA is a little different. USA focuses on calorie and nutrient intake. So they kind of test things out a little bit more. They test out the market. They give a lot of options. You might see 24 kinds of Pop-Tarts in the States and then come to Canada and only see 4. There's a reason for that. We have to understand what people actually want. There's a big population in the United States, and there's a lot of multiculturalism in the sense where they bring in a lot of different kinds of food, but the things that work and don't work tend to get back to us in terms of data, and then we apply that to our balanced meals program based on the improvements or the likenesses or the discoveries, whatever it might be. And then we also do government regulations with that. Okay, and then in the UK, they focus more on portion sizes, variety, and nutrient content. So that's more of the volume of food you're taking in that keeps our weight stable, that keeps our size stable, that keeps our attractiveness stable. And then in Australia, they focus on promoting a wide variety of nutritious foods and limiting the availability of unhealthy foods and drinks. So that's more of our like economic intake, our statistics, our government, weighing the pros and cons, what's worth it genetically, what's not worth it genetically, what do we have allocation in terms of resources around the world as well. And then also keeping in mind that we are providing the right amount to the exact amount of people. So keeping that loyalty in that promised land and that friendship and that trust with other countries is very valuable to us. And then just a final note that Asian cultures actually limit their consumptions like sodium to decrease the birth rate and reduce stimulants. So it's actually the opposite of us. So that's something to also keep in mind. And this is something that I did with the food pyramid guide that we currently have, and it's an upgrade. So I would ask that you look over it and consider it. It reduces the meat consumption that we have. It improves the overall health quality in terms of vegetation, and healthier for animals, good for men and women, and something to kind of look over and append if you could, and just like consider the outcomes and the color tones as well. With the internal pyramid being like deeper colors, more appropriate for men, and lighter outskirts for women. Just something I'm throwing out there. I'd like you to take a look at. Okay, the next one is to pattern development and using AI. So I'm a pretty keen for new technologies. Like I jump right on them, and I have to figure out what they do and how they help and all that stuff. So and that's what I did with AI. I just wanted to check out and see kind of like what it was like. I was working as a teacher at Nova Scotia Community College, and I started using AI to help improve my curriculum and improve some of the things we were teaching in the courses, stuff like that. Worked out awesome. Mental health pattern development and color theory, theology and kinship in the UK, USA, Australia, Canada, Oceania, and Europe. Developing patterns in data using AI and machine learning can be complex, but there are simplified ways to approach it. So here's a basic outline that we're going to try to follow. Data collection, keeping it in the red, good big heart for this. Gather data related to mental health in schools and students willing in a respectful way. That's really important, is that we make sure the students stay comfortable, they stay safe, they're not, their boundaries aren't being violated in any way. Privacy is extraordinarily important to us. And being respectful is notorious for us. So feature selections. Identify the most relevant features, variables for people prefer that term, that are likely to influence mental health outcomes in schools using AI. So find the things where you find issues, where if it's a blonde person and a deep black person, and they're not working together, what could the potential issues be? And you can't you got to be 100% honest with yourself. Take the information in the AI gives you the back and append it or fix it based on your own interpretations and see if we can increase the volume of awareness and truth that's out there. The next one is model selection. So we're just kind of talking about frameworks. We're going to get into the model. So choose a machine learning model that is suitable for the task that you're looking to accomplish. For example, a classification model can be used to predict whether a student is at risk of mental health issues based on various features. So, for example, if I am a black girl, black youth girl, and I want to join the cheerleading team, and the cheerleading team is all white, blonde, blue-eyed girls, then I might experience some risk at that. So what would those classifications and what would those issues be, and how could we improve that? Is it worth it to make an all-black cheerleading team? Should we segregate men and women? Figure out those classifications and build a taxonomy of it. The next one is model training. So we're staying in the yellow for this one. So this is our most predominant one, is to train the model using the cleaned 100% cleaned, pre-processed data, develop your own algorithms, really extraordinary algorithm building here, for new outcomes. The importance is that we need to know what the new outcomes are going to be based on the issues that we have, and we need a guarantee of that. And that way we can make better decisions and better outcomes happen. Okay, the next one is going old school with OG, sorry, OG families here. So evolution and roots of health promotion and education. So the universal approach, in recent years, there's been a growing awareness of the importance of promoting mental well-being in young people. Research has shown that many young individuals lack adequate knowledge about mental health, highlighting the need for increased awareness, education, and interventions to support their mental well-being. The importance is to not be in denial about the situation. Don't judge people at all. You don't know their situations. They live with their situations every day, and don't make judgment calls after having one conversation. The importance of mental health promotion is many students come from homes where adequate health was not taught due to parental knowledge, circumstances, and time victimization. I'm also someone who comes from a family like that. I was obese as a child. I was like over 300 pounds by the time I was 15 years old. A lot of that was due to my parents not being financially stable, but also my mom coming from an orphanage where her 8 brothers and sisters were at, so they were eating like mac and cheese every day and not really getting that support that they needed. So when I grew up and moved out on my own, I retaught myself how to eat properly. By the time I was, I had my son, I went vegan for my pregnancy, and I really healthy. All right, let's keep moving on. I don't want to talk too much. Universal interventions and mental health promotion. The aim of universal intervention is to promote mental well-being on a broader scale, making them essential for creating a positive school culture and supporting the mental health of all students globally in an inclusive, accepting environment. The biggest thing is not to threaten students or enforce mental help on them. A lot of students get a lot of mental health successes from going home and playing video games. A lot of that private solace time is chapel living. I'm praying to myself, I'm worshiping myself, I'm in solace on my own and thinking to myself. And they don't necessarily need that healthcare provider stuff. And a lot of, keep in mind too, is we need to make guarantee we're the best at healthcare services for that kind of thing to ensure that we're actually giving the proper support and we're not missing things. We're not missing like intricate pieces of evidence or data or anything like that, or we're not missing intricate pieces of enlightenment that we absolutely need first. Okay, so advancements in mental health promotion and education examines in mental health promotion in contemporary education, particularly in light of global austerity measures in recent years. So the reason we wrote it that way is food advancement and holistic learning and homemaking. Technically, a lot of this is focused on children, but it's focused on the parent first. So new educational approaches and remote learning. Freedom and experiential learning. And what I mean by that is experiential is you're experiencing it as you're doing it, as you're learning about it. So if I decide I want to go home and work from home and be a housewife and cook a meal every day for supper, and it's a healthy meal and I want to take a video of it, that's experiential learning. You're technically still in school, unless you're getting paid a salary for it. It's just a social supremacy tactic. So you are still learning and growing, and you are getting education that way. So it's important to be accountable and recognizable for those things. And the next one is appending knowledge with advanced technology. So now that we've got kind of our roots set for old things like old mental health awarenesses, old technologies. Now we can append all that old stuff with all the new advancements that we have, all the new data that we have. We can find patterns. They're called algorithm patterns. And then what we do is we do the modeling, and then we come up with actual solutions that are viable and usable in a really quick way. So what would take us, if we look at like human trafficking advancements, what would have taken us 8 years before takes us 2 days now. That's kind of like the advancement. The next one is higher enlightenment and cryptic approaches, including divine data. A lot of people are using social networks and social apps and things like that to express their divinity in some way, or express their feelings on God, or express their feelings on enlightenment or their advancements, or whether it be their clothes or their makeup or what they're learning in school, anything down to the abuse they suffer. All of that stuff is expression of internal self, and we need to know the difference of what it is they're expressing and if it's information we actually need. A lot of that information goes through data machines. We don't have the ability to just look at someone's data for free. It doesn't work like that. We have to go through like a big governmental process for things like that. Data is very, very valuable and secure and important, so that it's just not in terms of like big data, no one really matters, but everyone matters, kind of thing. And a hint is freedom fighters aim to use environments and theological approaches to invent new ways of using holistic approaches to mental health. So keep that in mind. Okay, keep your eye out for Easter eggs. Take a look around, see how you feel about our evolution and things that you want to kind of append on, knowledge that you've kind of discovered over the years. Don't feel like you have to listen to anybody. Everybody matters. We believe in everyone's contributions, no matter what it is or how small or big it might be. Okay. What we're talking about now is limitations in educational mental health proceedings. And the focus on the limitations is that ethical concerns are a big one. Providing a program that benefits some students but not others can raise ethical concerns. It needs to be incorporated of everyone. The reason we run through this is, one group of people is mad, and the next group of people is mad, and then the next group of people is mad, and then just everybody. It works in our favor because everyone kind of branches off and expresses what they want on their own terms. But at the same time, we don't want to get it too diluted or spreading ourselves too thin where we can't control the system. The next one is control groups. Studies that include a control group for comparison provide more substantial outcome evidence. Control groups should technically receive no intervention, but in some cases they may receive an active control program to match the structure of the intervention being studied. And then the next one is the program evaluation. Involvement of the person delivering the program as the evaluator can introduce bias. Third-party observations are sometimes used to verify program fidelity and implementation outcomes, and usually due to loss of their own or overexcitement, which lacks self-control. Sinful acts can raise suspicion as well. Gender differences, future students should consider providing a gender breakdown of highlighting gender-specific results. Gender-specific schools should be considered. I think to myself like Sacred Heart, private schools, things like that, but maybe institutionalizing a program where it's not a paid program or paid school. Okay, the next one is the psychology of designing for children. I love the psychology of designing for children when it comes to technology, designing games, websites, things like that. Children are naturally curious and tend to gravitate towards technology that is interactive, engaging, and entertaining. So here are some things that kids generally enjoy in the realm of technology. I'm not going to read over all of them with you, but I encourage you to look them up and do some research on them yourself. Interactive games, augmented reality, AR, and virtual reality, VR. Doing creative apps. If we keep moving on to the next page here. Um, we have a couple more topics like educational apps and websites, animated storytelling, multiplayer and social features, simplified user interfaces, music and sound effects. So lots of things that we can focus on. But I want you to take note here to some of the children on this page. These are all AI generated children. I even have one here that looks kind of like Prince William and Prince Harry. And it just says a special beloved note from your crown. I'm sending a copy of this presentation as well so you can fool around with the images and read what it actually says. But just on it's a note just on the advancement of AI, the advancement in children's abilities. And the advancement of the noticeable difference in parents' reality right now to children's and their awareness. We're finding that children are heightenedly aware, and we don't want to go backwards to the point where we're not giving a capstone achievement to the millennials who kind of built this power for us. We want to make sure that everyone feels satisfied in what they're receiving. And I love you. Okay, working together in real time. This is a big one personally for me. This is my most loved cause. And that's cross-line integrations. So merging industries together can be a safe place. School MHP in practice, so programming and interventions. So the first one is the Gatehouse Project. So the objective is to design and establish a systemic, sustainable mental health promotion approach to secondary schools. So that would be things like College Hill, um, universities, higher end universities even could be included. And then also just certificate and diploma programs, even programs where students are doing 1 year certificates in language development, something like that. And then the focus is to seek proactively mitigate depressive symptoms among young students by cultivating a more positive school social environment and attending to prevalent emotional needs of youth and children. It's really disappointing if we have like international students coming in or immigration coming in and they're not getting or receiving like that heightened sense of enlightenment that they're looking for, or that uh, look for the future imagination, like dreams come true kind of thing, or I can really succeed here in a prosperous way. We want to make sure we keep that in our institution and then people feel that way when they get here. And then approach. The project advocates for the integration of various industries to create safer spaces, thereby incorporating elements such as structured scheduling, consistent rules, stability, safety, honesty, and trust within the students' environments. So my take on this situation is that we should be focusing on three areas of improvement: military, healthcare, and schools. So for me, when I look at these bags, for example, if I could move my mouse here, this bag here particularly strikes to me that someone with darker skin would enjoy it. This bag strikes to me that someone in the healthcare industry would probably enjoy it. And then I also have this bag here where we might get lighter skinned people that might enjoy it. Or it could be a good lunch bag for students attending college or university, things like that. But my focus is, and I'm focusing on justice because I actually think this is the win brand for this thing. Um, and for me, what it is personally is we are advertising so many positive things. We're advertising pink first and foremost for the Justice brand with the catalog. We're advertising justice in general, so GG, good health, good government, good game. And then we're advertising that we all work together under an institution and that we provide, we take care of our own, we provide good quality things to our tangible things to our citizens. This really is like a beautiful lunch bag or a hospital bag or a military bag, however it ends up getting used. But I also want to talk a little bit about schools specifically and students and some of the pattern developments that we've noticed in technology, but also going back to the original hierarchy, noticing that our institution is actually the strongest institution for leadership hierarchy. So keeping our hierarchy in mind, I don't want to lose that social supremacy factor. So to do that, implementing some of these tactics could actually keep us going in a way where we have conformity and obedience and things like that. Okay. So this bag. You might remember it from like 20 years ago if anybody has that like history with this kind of bag. It comes, we give manufacturers for like really, really cheap for a bag like this, but it really actually has a beautiful design. I actually have a bag like this. One second. Don't mind me. I know my place is a mess. It's not a big deal. Okay. So I have this bag here, and I've got some of my favorite brand new things in it, and I just leave it to worship. My name's Nicole, but I bought E because I'm a lesbian. Not actually, but actually. I don't want to be cool. I want an actual redhead. That's what that's like. Okay, moving along. All right, the Childhood Development Program. Okay, the objective is a preventative program focused on creating school environments that are caring communities of learners. I'm a big believer of no judgment. It doesn't matter what it is. Um, I know that there's perceived values, and a lot of it is being empathetic and compassionate towards people, but it's more important to get the job done. And the focus is to aim to promote healthy childhood development by fostering supportive and inclusive school environments. So I'm going to take you back to Australia for a second, and we're going to look at the Kids Matter approach and our personality developments and the improvements that we've had in the relationship developments. If we have a school where we have dress codes or we have a lot of focused areas. For example, when we were first starting with technology, we were still figuring out the things that people wanted to shop for, the things that people wanted to buy, and how we could collect that data. Now, having those results and having those billions and billions and billions of records of data, we see now that people feel safer and more comfortable and more conformative and more obedient. They don't need that that American dream, that like really high end dream. A lot of it is they want to know that they're loved, taken care of, and that they can have beautiful, nice things in their life. And the reality is I want that higher enlightenment, and I want that higher enlightenment to show in my reality, in my existence, in my location. So getting schools on board with providing backpacks where they've got this really nice, clear, see-through, but it's really beautiful in design. Backpack, everyone gets one with their initial on it, that kind of thing. Shows camaraderie, it shows school loyalty. It shows us that we can be in a safe space together without worrying. We can have our own stuff that can't be touched, but it's visible, so we have that safety factor. So all these things I would encourage you to look at from an individuality approach and from a connectivity approach. It would be really a beautiful thing to have these bags in things like private schools, but also if we did have like an all-girls school and everyone got one and it was a public school, not a private school, that would be nice too. So kind of asking the government or Justin Trudeau or whoever it might be kind of for that money dummy kind of thing. All right. Another tactic and approach I'd like to use for development in schools with mental health is consequence-free resources. A lot of people look at healthcare providers as a consequence, and to be honest, we do have free healthcare here in Canada, but we also have long wait times, and we don't want everyone coming to the hospital because they have a mental health crisis, and it also just end up being like a nosebleed or anxiety kind of thing. So this is You're an Expert with Tell Me. The Tell Me box finds the right command when you need it so you can save time and focus on your work. So I'm going to get you to select me. So we've got this blue robot right here. And we're going to say try it. And we're going to say promoting positive mental health and education. And here's the topics. The whole school approach, which involves collaborating with all parts of the school community, students, families, and staff. This approach also takes into account the impact of local and government policies on mental health and well-being. All right, so here are the topics that I've come up for you to implement into the Tell Me box. Abuse in families and at home. Sexual violence and love affairs. Friendship and kinship disregard. Exploratory lifestyles resulting in loss or heartbreak. Children and stresses. Work and burnout. Animals and food intake. Passions and purpose in life, orgasms and life satisfactions, inequality in knowledges, cultural implementations, money and inadequacies. I keep messing that word up. Inadequacies. Lack of government acknowledgement in these areas. Men particularly took an interest in these last few. Lack of ability to say what I want or I need. Loss of control in one's own life. Lack of respect from others, especially immediate life. And then loss of freedom and ability to die. All right. So these are a lot of really important topics that we want the Tell Me box to give us truthful, accurate answers on, and they're not opinion based. The most important thing we've noticed in technology is to not have an opinion. We get the best results by just being honest, no matter what. And a lot of the time, people have a lot of it's fundamental attribution error, a lot of it's anger, things like that. But a lot of the times we want to focus on gathering that data because people want to know why they're thinking this way. And a lot of it is judgment-free zone, and I would have the freedom to express myself more if I wasn't going to be judged on the way I was thinking, because a lot of the times they can't control it. A lot of the times with technology, we do a lot of mental processing from where we can. So it's really important to acknowledge that and to kind of come up with like retribution acts and things like that. Okay, the next topic that I want to focus on is the value of physical education in schools. I want to highlight this in a different way because we've noticed a lot of loss in competitive sports because overwork or burnout. So a lot of those competitive sports that aren't um, like champion based or it's kind of a similar thing that we run into with technology where we run into that like star dream and then people get let down or they let their dream go before and they have to kind of hit the real world. So I want to kind of talk a little bit about bringing the physical education aspect back and being allowed to be physically active as a career and still be successful. So expeditions that combat addictions, which is a big one, it's going to be really helpful for people who are addicted to technology in the future, having those physical educators and having those physical educational careers available to them. So promoting confident thinking is a big one. The more I exercise, the more confident my thinking is. Expanding on passions. The more I accomplish my goals, the more passionate I am. Drive for purpose without fear. A lot of a lot of people can't pursue their dreams because there's too much fear around the hardship that they'd have to go through or the immediate loss they'd have to experience. And then dilution of wishes and dreams are prominent in education. So the big one is not being a thief of wishes and dreams. Not We need to communicate better as faculty and as students, where we're not putting people down to the point where they don't believe in themselves for anything anymore. And a lot of that comes from jealousy things, but a lot of it comes from I just don't want to suffer anymore. So we're going to take a look at some of the things, how physical education can actually help with that no matter what. Okay, so we're promoting a few topics. Majorettes, baton twirling, cheerleading, and competition sports. Military god songs and obediences. So if we go to gym class, for example, and we're listening to music, I don't want to be hearing Ariana Grande. I want to be hearing songs that I would not hear anywhere else. Worshiping songs, godly songs, divinity songs, songs that are really easy on the soul, easy on the heart, safe place to be, that kind of thing. The next one is health tactics, like running, walking, exerting for long periods of times. A lot of the time, as our economy grows, a lot more people are going to be going into the military as it provides a life for them. And so we want to make sure that they're exerting those kind of technologies. Even doing like a triathlon for a field trip or something would be nice, or training for that for 1 year or something. The next one is choosing physical activities that stimulate joy to the student. We notice when dreams or wishes die, the student is not going to experience joy anymore, and they would have to rebuild their dream or figure something else out that they like to rebuild the excitement and joy for that, and then they have to actually guarantee it happens to keep that. So it's important that we do things that stimulate joy, that are just natural to our institution, natural to our environment, natural to our habitats, things like walking in the park. If I get real joy out of that, or if I get real joy out of doing gymnastics at lunchtime in the gym, never take that away from them, more or less. And then working together in teams to combat weight bullying. You might find females don't want to do gym class, or students with weight issues don't want to do gym class, or males don't want to work with females and do gym class. Any of these issues all attribute to embarrassment and not being able to be vulnerable in the environment that they're in, and just not having that natural ability to work together. So being able to combat that and using gym class is a really good way of doing that. So even if you took a walk in a park as a class together, you could build new relationships and build new rapports and kind of combat some of the vital dramatics that kind of go on in like youth and children's schools, that kind of stuff. Next one is prosperity in all futures regarding a dream judgment. So if I say to you, I want to be like the richest woman in the world, or I want to be the best cheerleader in the world and be like on Star Row and have millions of dollars, all of that stuff is truly possible and capable. And the important thing is to not bring other people down because your reality isn't the same as theirs. Dreams take different forms in different people, and a lot of grandiosity comes in big dreams come true. So the important thing is to not associate mental health issues with dreaming. Daydreaming, having nighttime dreams repetitively, that kind of stuff. Dreams are not associated with mental health illnesses. Having dreams or goals are more purposeful and passionful than being having mental health issues is more vital to fixing the issues that prevent those dreams from happening, as opposed to those being the issues of mental health. And then the next one is promotion of good physical health, sex, and healthy intake for those lacking in the home. There needs to be like the best way to combat confusion in terms of talking about sex from a young age and healthy intake. For example, I have a son, he's only 7, but I encourage him to be good to women, to be good to girls. I bought him a bra that he really liked, that associated with a female, like that kind of thing needs to be taken into consideration, and not enforcing different cultures or religions or things like that just to kind of reduce the racism or that fear or anything like that. It's really important. We all have boundaries. We don't want to touch each other. That's okay. I want to include you in my life and my reality, though, because I would love to learn the skills that you have, the culture that you have, the things that we all can work together to do, and I don't have to have sex with you to learn those things. And then finally, the next one is the 60 to 40 ratio, or the 3 to 2 aspect ratio, if you're into technology for that kind of thing. And that's promoting, if you decide to do physical work or physical activities for your future as a career, then there should be in schools a 60 to 40 ratio where you're 60% physical and 40% in the classroom kind of thing. And there's a list down below here on physical education serving as a powerful tool to combat addictions and promote confident thinking, passion, expansions, and drive for purpose. And these are a few things that you can kind of talk about how they can help in your everyday school life. All right, so the results that we concluded from doing better physical activity in schools is a few things. So in order to keep in line, like we went over the fashion tactics for health, military, and education, a lot of the results for the physical education program is getting it right in terms of men and women. So men do genuinely prefer football, soccer, cricket, because it's really popular in Europe and they like that kind of divinity of it, that like wishing that that could be me kind of thing. And then the basketball, there's a lot more inclusivity in basketball. They found that basketball was a really nice sport where there was just more friendliness and getting alongness. And then women were having a hard time in the beginning of figuring out what women wanted, but we realized that there was a divide in the types of sports that women and men could do, data collection wise. And then triathloning was one of the things women would prefer to do. It gives them diversity. Women enjoy the versatility of triathlons, giving them a wide variety of health options with a competitive edge in an environmental competition, which would be, it would make sense. And then cheerleading and majorettes or baton twirling. Women appreciate the choreography of traditional loved New England sports and the comfort and conformity of ritual routining. So cheering and batoning are loved in countries like Russia, Australia, New Zealand, Oceania, New England and the UK, Scotland, Canada, and the United States. Africa has also taken a love for the sport. And then volleyball, we kind of already knew about this, but volleyball is widely played by women around the world, both recreationally and professionally. Volleyball has an added score judgment, so it's giving it a competitive edge with men. And that's why women like it. And there's a couple things like 10 essential functions of public health that was kind of put together for monitoring health, diagnosing and investigating, inform, educate and empower, mobilize community partnerships, develop policies, enforce laws, links in provide care, assure a competent workforce, evaluate and research. So these essential functions of public health, the reality is these are all essential services that need to be provided. If something was to ever go wrong in any of these sports or any of the physical attributes or like mental attributes of health. Okay, the next focus topic is dreams and imaginations. So I put together kind of like my dream, my mind in like a dream, and there's like a little filter over it kind of thing. But this is about dreams and imaginations. So including cryptocurrency in the curriculum alongside topics like money laundering, accounting, financing, banks, and insurance can further enhance students' understanding of the financial landscape. And here's why it's important. Overall, these topics provide the knowledge and skills needed to make sound financial decisions, modern economy, manage the risk, navigate any compounding interest, anything like that, all of which are essential for turning dreams into reality. And then the golden rule of data collection. So, in the realm of technology, we live by a fundamental principle that we fondly refer to as the golden rule. And the simplest yet profound rule rule underscores our collective commitment to responsible data stewardship, and that is we do not delete data. We don't delete data. Why data matters? Data is the lifeblood of our digital world. It fuels innovation, informs decision, and empowers progress. It represents the accumulation of our efforts, insights, and experiences. In our interconnected society, data is not just valuable, it's invaluable. Our obligations and responsibility as members of the technology community, it's our responsibility to be mindful of all data collected during our journey through the digital landscapes. Whether it's code, research, user information, or any other form of data, we must recognize its importance. Our actions should reflect the understanding that data is not expendable. It is an asset that carries enduring value. The golden rule always applies. Just as the golden rule guides our interactions with one another, it also applies to our treatment of data. Treat data as you would wish your own work to be treated, with respect, integrity, and a commitment to its preservation. In adherence to the golden rule of data, we pledge to safeguard data against unwarranted deletion or loss, implement robust data management practices, foster a culture of responsible data handling and sharing, continuously seek ways to harness the potential within data for the betterment of society, to respect the individual's data, honor its privacy, and hold it in the highest regard. I pledge. Another thing too is when someone does delete data, it just gets deleted and moved over to the other side of the world. Nothing to be too concerned about. Voice for that, oh my god. Okay. Excuse me, I need to drink my coffee. Privacy and sourcing. Okay, help yourself grow. And that is through fair dealings. My support, my choice. All right, so the fair dealing guidelines. Fair dealing is a legal doctrine that allows for the limited use of copyrighted material without the permission of the copyright holder. In Canada, fair dealing is the outlined in the Copyright Act and allows for the use of copyrighted material for purposes such as research, privacy study, education, parody, satire, criticism, review, or news reporting, as long as the use is fair. Okay, so these are the obligations that we're going to follow under when it comes to privacy and sourcing, because it's not going to always be practical to be doing APA type sourcing. It's just when we're really rationalizing real information these days, we just don't take the time to source that way, and we're much better because of it. And then the next one is appendation. Appendation is the act of adding additional information or material to a document or work. It can include supplementary data, explanations, or references that provide more context or detail to the main content. Plus, we already have a really strong force that know the difference, so it's not too worrisome to just append data, especially if you know what you're talking about. The next one is psychology in the classroom, and that's the biggest one, is the fundamental attribution error, which is the cognitive bias where individuals attribute others' actions to their character rather than considering situational factors. Self-control builds real character, so it's really important to look at yourself in the mirror when you make those accusations, and teaching that in schools is so important. It combats bullying, gaslighting, and disappointment in others. Usually designed to run from another situation, consuming their mind or body. That's why a lot of that happens. And it's usually due to one's own frustrations with the situation or dilution from having it managed. And then avoidance, this reduces anger loads and reduces prideful experiences that may cause otherwise. Okay, so keeping the fundamental attribution error as a primary source. And then what we're looking for is greater leadership and grounded optimism in education. So a few things we want our leaders to focus on. Ethical leadership is the cornerstone of any successful organization. It's about making decisions based on values and principles that foster honesty, trust, and integrity. We also want leaders that act with ethical compasses, ensuring fairness, transparency, and accountability at all levels. Sustainable leadership in a world grappling with environmental challenges. It's vital for leaders to adopt sustainable practices, not 5-year plans or 2-year plans. We want sustainable practices that are good for our institutions, that keep them running and keep them going long term. Um, we also want to promote long-term prosperity while minimizing negative impacts on our planet. And then finally, we want the moral legal leadership is crucial to maintaining respect for the law and upholding moral obligations. Leaders must navigate the intricacies of legal frameworks, ensuring compliance while adhering to ethical standards. Both men and women look to each other for proper justice in our legal system, and they also both look for sustainability within their own identities, within their own genders, things like that. So it's really important that we all work together on those issues. And then an example curriculum when it comes to articulation, we want to see something more in terms of the wording like this. Write a small classroom exercise about the Nutcracker and the Royal Opera House in London for web. Create a page with media embedded discussing the Opera House with the links to the official website. This single page should be responsive for any technological device. Please generate starter code for students, use columns and rows, and also ensure they use music, video, and frames and a map in their design. All right, and the next one is capstone achievements. So the important part is once you get it right, you get an achievement. So capstone achievements are vital in the role of realizing dreams and turning imaginations into reality. Here's why they're important. Accumulation of learning. In university, it's not so bad. We get our degree. We can go off and do whatever we're supposed to do with our lives, what we want. Capstone projects often represent accumulation of years of learning and experience in particular field or discipline. So it's recognizing that achievement. And then demonstration of mastery, completing a hard-earned achievement, grading, presents, things like that students might get at the end of the year. Capstone projects demonstrate mastery and proficiency in a specific subject or an area. Professional development. Capstone projects often require individuals to work independently or in teams, fostering important skills such as project management, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking. Also, like just social supremacy tactics. Like congratulations on being a good human, kind of thing. Opportunity for innovations. Capstone projects encourage creativity and innovation, allowing individuals to explore new ideas and approaches and solutions to problems. Funds are available at this level as well. Because it's a capstone achievement, you're done. Could be like retirement, could be early retirement, could be you did something early with your life and you were able to do more innovative stuff later on in your life. And you are accomplished in your goals to the point of financial availability, freedom. Personal fulfillment. Completing a capstone project can be personally fulfilling as it allows individuals to see their ideas come to life and make a tangible impact. All right. Story and game development for children. So when it comes to offering information, especially to younger children, about things that are new to our society, it's really important kind of like for millennials to grow up a little bit, now that a lot of them have children, things like that. Teaching them what's coming is really important. So explaining blockchain to a 5-year-old, for example, would be imagine you have a magical notebook and every time you write something in it, it gets sent to all your friends' notebooks. They also have the same magical power. So if you want to keep track of something important, like how many candies everyone has, you write it down in your notebook and your friends see it and theirs too. This way, no one can cheat because everyone knows what's written. That's a bit like how blockchain works. In the computer world, instead of notebooks, we have something called blocks. Each block contains special information, and when we add a new block, it's like a new page to our magical notebook. The cool part is that once something is written in a block, it can't be changed. So if we use this for keeping track of things like money or who owns what, it becomes super safe and fair because everyone has the same information. And then you could also say explaining a website that uses blockchain to a 2-year-old. And it would be something similar with a little bit more simplicity in it. The next thing that should be regularized pretty much in all of our institutions from, K to 12 all the way into like college and higher universities is the Sustainable Development Goals. We're kind of already globally working on having like everybody work on this together. A lot of universities are already attributing it to their orientation process on how we're going to be implementing this into the curriculum as a whole learning guide, just in some way making sustainability our focus, planet-centric design our focus. So promoting the sustainable development goals in schools can have several important benefits. Education and awareness is the first one. We want to make sure that people who come in from really spoiled families in some ways, or people come in really poverty-stricken, they're really sarcastic or angry or whatever it might be. They might be really honest, but we want to make sure that there's awareness that, there are 5 billion people starving just over there. Just keeping that kind of stuff in mind. Offering, the military as a way to kind of help and support and give back would be a really great option. Another thing is we want to empower people. People feel helpless and like all they want is money and all they want is the prosperity in life is right and it's good, but if we're not getting love, we're not getting this world satisfaction, traveling satisfaction, all that stuff, they're not really getting any real empowerment. And then the empowerment comes from giving back and feel satisfied from giving back and doing the right thing on the planet while you were here, and then you feel like you deserve those capstone achievements. Another one is the relevance. The SDGs are relevant to everyone, regardless of the location or background. These are global issues. We're all trying to get a world government going, World Health Center, world education, that kind of thing. All that stuff's really important, and we need to work together to get the job done, and we need to show that we can work together. And then cross curricular learning. It introduces that we all agree on that we should be studying science, social studies, geography, as our 3 main like focus topics. And then integrating the SDGs into the curriculum can promote interdisciplinary learning and a holistic understanding of complex issues. So not always like mathematical and tactical issues, but more of a holistic divine approach. Skills development is another one. We also want to develop skills in the areas of giving back and building new things. And then local and global impact. Obviously, we want to make a positive impact on the world while we're here. And then comparing divinity and theology in positive mental health in schools. So if we were to have like a world government or a World Health Institute, what would that kind of look like? And divinity and theological approaches often emphasize the spiritual dimensions of human life and the belief in a higher power or divine being. So this perspective can provide individuals with a sense of purpose, meaning, and connection to something greater than themselves. And that's really important because it can really drive passion and purpose in someone. Space and extraterrestrial life forces, the exploration of space and the search for extraterrestrial life forces, us to consider the vastness and diversity of the universe. The perspective can inspire awe and wonder, prompting us to contemplate our place in the cosmos and our place in the world. Implementing positive mental health in schools. Implementing positive mental health practices in schools involves creating a supportive and inclusive environment that prioritizes the well-being of students. This approach recognizes the importance of mental health in academic success and overall quality of life. All right, the next one is my love for this idea in general. Developing a data pattern for algorithm building. I love algorithms so much. My whole life. Just kidding. In order to get this circle working and fulfilled and everything that we need to structurally collect the proper data and build the proper algorithms to collect that data and then apply it. So collecting data like, are you single? Do you have a visa status? What's your citizenship? Knowing all that sooner about a person, the same way you'd know like their phone number, their name, would be appreciated. There's me up at the top there. That's me when I was a little bit bigger. Bella, and then it's getting. All right. Explore without leaving your side. Because what happens is we end up getting stuck in situations where we're stuck with family members and we just don't like them anymore. So when individuals are prevented from accessing their higher knowledge, enlightenment, or education, it can evoke a range of emotions and outcomes. They may feel distressed, frustrated, or disappointed by their lack of progress or opportunities. This can be distressing on an institute if the cause is not concluded. This situation can also lead to a loss of trust and loyalty, as individuals may perceive that the system or those in authority are not supportive of their growth or successes. Unaccepted. Moreover, this circumstance can raise concerns among agencies and organizations that value intelligence and education. When individuals are not given the chance to fulfill their full potential, it can result in the loss of valuable talent and potential contributions to society. Where would I be today if I didn't go vegan for my pregnancy? I don't even know if God would like me after that. Not really. All right, moving along. All right, global advancements and approaches. This is a good one. The Asian color wheel. We have an Asian color wheel. Like color wheels used in the other regions, typically it consists of a range of colors arranged in a circular format. These colors are often organized according to the relationships of the color spectrum, with primary colors being red, blue, yellow, secondary colors being orange, green, and purple, and the tertiary colors being colors created by a mixture of primary and secondary colors, like the in-between. Okay, so the point of this is, for example, I look at 43 and then I look at 43 and it says holiness. Okay, and then I look at white and yellow and I try to find, okay, so 43, white is B, so B is Japanese. 43, yellow is F. F is Asian. So Asian and Japanese both see yellow and white as holiness, which makes sense because touch the deity. All right. And we're almost wrapping up here. We're almost done. All right. From the sun. A gift from the sun. Planet-centric design curriculums. Together, we can make a meaningful impact through knowledge, innovation, and a commitment to planetary well-being through planet-centric design in our curriculum. We already talked about the SDGs. We talked about physical education, all these cool things that we could do. But the focus should be, in general, planet-centric design. That means us. That means the planet. That means the animals. That means all that we are, how the sun, I was going to say the sun, how the sun feels, how the moon feels, whether or not the moon's like us or not, all that good stuff. So planet-centric design embodies an approach that places ecological sustainability and the overall well-being of our planet and humanity at the forefront of creating products, systems, and solutions. So in embracing planet-centric design, our focus extends beyond immediate goals. It encourages the adoption of solutions that are systemic, transparent in privacy ethics and moral psychology, and inherently responsible to humanity and the well-being of all. This approach goes beyond conventional design practices to foster a profound sense of responsibility among students for the well-being of our industry. The commitment of planet-centric design acknowledges the interconnectedness of environmental health, social equity, economy, vitality. It also encourages students to think holistically, envisioning solutions that not only meet the trends, but contribute to the long-term health and resilience of our institutes and industries. Okay, so keep it in mind, beautiful colors. We've got the crows of Odin even. We've got the beautiful colors for the tones for the females and the deep bright colors for the males, and the sun bursting at the seams with all these beautiful colors. So thankful for that gift. And then all right, so I put together just one page, just a couple of A's and C's for 50-year predictions on the focus studies that we're going to be focusing on. And those topics would be astrology, astronomy, anthropology, technology, artificial intelligence, classical studies, classic ancient studies, choreography, cryptocurrency, and calligraphy or Adobe designs. So if we were going to predominantly focus on, this is only two letters like A and C versus worth the list, but we can work on like a better one, a stronger one. But these would be 50-year predictions on upcoming things that we would need to study in order to attribute like positive mental health in everyone, not just a few select groups of people, to make sure that we have success in this piece of that. All right, and then finally, it's me, the psycho. I'm the entire education. I'm also schizophrenic. Thank you for my presentation today. I look forward to passing this course.